Hey guys, so it's me, Tianna, and today I'm back with the third video in my note-taking mini-series that I'm doing on this channel for back to school. And today I'm going to show you guys how you can take notes from a handout reading that your teacher has given you. Now, you will know that in my first video I did textbook summaries, and some of the things that I do for a handout are a little bit different, so I'm going to jump right in and show you guys how I take notes from a handout reading. Now, once again, this is a history example just because I have the most stuff left from my history class, because I'm taking a class this coming year that builds on last year's history class. So I tried to keep some of the stuff, but yeah, they're all history examples. I'm sorry about that, but you can really apply this method to any subject that you might have that give you like handouts like this. So this is basically just like the handout that he gave us, and it's just like, this is the one that I used as the example for the video, but it's just like learning to write in ancient Egypt. So that's what I'm going to be using as my model, I guess, for this note. So basically, when I'm doing notes from a handout, something that is the biggest difference is I have no real page reference to give when I'm doing my notes. And if you watched my textbook summary video, which I will link somewhere here, you will notice that that was the biggest thing that I did, was I gave a page reference from where I was finding the information. Now for this, obviously you can't do that because you have no real page reference, it's just a handout. But lucky for you, most teachers will let you keep the handout, so you will still be able to refer back to it. However, some teachers won't let you keep the handout, so just keep that in mind when you're taking your notes. Now for this, basically the first thing that I did was I wrote up in the corner my teacher's name, which that's just some random name, and the course code for my class so that I would know which class this belonged to. Now over here I also wrote a date, once again a random date. This isn't a real note, I just made the note for the video based on the handout that I found. And then I put the title. So for instance, the title of this article was Learning to Write, and this was in our Ancient Egypt unit. Now the reason why I put Ancient Egypt there was because oftentimes we would get similar articles for each civilization that we were studying. So we would get one for Ancient Greece and Rome, and like when we were doing the really ancient civilizations like the Sumerians, we would get articles that were very similar. So I made sure that I put Ancient Egypt there so that I knew that this is from the Ancient Egypt unit. Now basically, to start off, I wrote whatever was the title of the section that I found in here. So for instance, this one is Egyptian history. Clearly I can't read, and basically this first paragraph here was just Egyptian history and like information about Egyptian history. So that's why I titled that section there Egyptian history. Now here I did a section on writing, and that is because my next section here in the article was about writing and the Egyptian alphabet. Now here you can see my next section was Education in the Temples, and that was a paragraph here that's called Education in the Temples. So really titling the paragraphs based on what you're finding in the selection or whatever reading your teacher has given you, even if it's the same or if it's different, helping to title them like this in a similar way will give you a reference point of where you can refer back to. Now you'll notice that in my note it's not in exact order, so I didn't like go down the page and then move over or go down the page and jump back and forth. Doing it that way will help also give you an easier reference point when you're looking back at your notes if you need to go back to the article. However, it's not really necessary if you're titling your sections the same. And then down at the bottom, you can see I've just sectioned off a section where I put some study questions. Now, oftentimes with these kinds of articles, your teacher will give you questions to answer about them. So it would be a really good idea to write those questions here even on your note. Or you can, just reading the selection, come up with questions based on the section that you've highlighted above. So here you can see like Egyptian history. I wrote a study question about Egyptian history. And then for writing, I wrote a question about writing. And then education in the temples, I wrote a question about education in the temples. And this will just help when it comes time for a test. You can look back at all those questions, and oftentimes the more questions you come up with, the more questions you're likely to have already thought about before you go into the test. Because, for instance, my history teacher, when we had him, I just would come up with questions, and then I would go into the test, and there would be questions on that test that I had already kind of come up with. Now, obviously not exactly word for word, but similar. So, for instance, one of the questions that I have here is looking at the history of Egypt, how did the society evolve, and how did its evolution impact today's society? Now, looking at that question, that touches on one of the fundamental points of history, which in his course he definitely focused on, which was to relate ancient civilizations to today. So knowing that, I tried to center a lot of my questions that I thought about around that principle. He also really liked talking about like advancements and how it was important to the evolution of that civilization. And he also liked to talk about how different aspects showed different things about civilizations. So knowing what your teacher's looking for on a test really will help you come up with study questions that'll be beneficial to your studying for a test. So basically that is how I do my notes when I'm given a reading handout. Yeah, I hope you guys found this video useful. Remember to comment any other back to school videos that you guys would like to see. I am going to be doing a haul sometime next week when I get my school supplies, so that probably won't be up on a Monday. The video next week might be a little bit late because I am not going to have access to internet to upload on Monday, so I'm going to do my best to upload a video this Friday to make up for it. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and the other two videos, which I will have linked somewhere here. And remember to give this video a thumb up if you enjoyed it, and keep checking back for more back to school videos. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and remember to stay organized. Bye guys!